Hello everyone, Dave here with some thoughts on a couple of knives for you guys tonight. Tonight we're going to take a look at the Laci Szabo design UUK. As you can see from just looking at it, it is a very unique design. I'm going to say it is a very effective and efficient design for a combat knife. For those of you that don't know Laci, I'm actually going to put a couple of links up in the description area. You could check out his videos describing not only this knife, but some of his other creations. In the UUK video, he describes essentially how this knife can be used and should be used in a number of practical applications. A little bit of background: Laci has an extensive career in military and law enforcement, being both a United States, having been in both the United States Marine Corps, Army Rangers, local police departments, SWAT training. He is also a certified instructor under James Keating. Many of you guys, if you're familiar at all with knife fighting or knife usage, James Keating is a name you should definitely know. That being said, the man knows what he's talking about, and his designs exemplify that. What you're looking at in front of you is essentially what he has learned, or basically the personification of what he deemed to be a superior or perfect fighting knife, combat knife. And this is it in front of me. Okay, so I know in my original introduction video I was not going to talk about the usage of a knife, but I'm going to have to go against that just because I think it would be a disservice to the UUK and to Laci not to talk about how the knife is used, because it is a very its purpose is very intended, if not directly obvious. Okay, so let's start out. The UUK, even though designed by Laci, has been made by a number of different makers. Rob Newton, Strider, as you can see here, and we'll take a look at the American Kami version after that. Some other knife makers who have made versions of the UUK, Ernest Mayer of Black Cloud. Long story short, it is a serious design. It is not something, the guys who make these knives are well versed and very experienced in what they're doing. It's not a novelty item. I'm just trying to get that across. So the one we're looking at in front of us is the Strider version of the UUK. 60 of these were made. This is number 12. Okay, features the S30V steel and the Bose heat treatment. Typical Strider ergonomics in the handle. It's about a 4.5 inch, 5 inch blade, 2 inches across. Okay, enough of that. What is the most obvious thing and what makes this knife so unique is this 45-degree angle between handle and blade. Okay, it is not a curved blade, as Laci describes it. It is really just an offset handle. The blade comes in 45 degrees from the handle. What this allows you to do is to take on a very natural grip. If you guys have done any type of, actually, if you're familiar at all with fencing, this type of grip should be pretty familiar, referred to sometimes as the pistol grip. Obviously it's different in a fencing saber or foil with the finger position, but the angle and the way it can be used and maneuvered, very similar. Okay? The 45-degree angle is essentially the natural angle. If you were to make a fist and throw a straight type of punch, you will notice that the blade presented towards your adversary is essentially the cutting edge of the knife. Whereas in a conventional knife, in order to present the blade towards your adversary, you need to tilt the wrist. Now this is a bit unnatural and of course not quite as secure as this. The amount of force that you can employ in this type of grip is just exceptional. From my own experiences, my own testing with the knife, playing with it, it's really impressive what you do. Okay, the other thing that you're going to notice on it is the guard here. Basically used not only to protect the fingers, but it can be used to trap the opponent's knife with the guard in here, with the little spacer there, as well as any type of stick or essentially any type of weapon the opponent is throwing at you. It is a double-bladed, double-edged knife, as you can see there. The Strider version, it's a little bit more acute than some of the other versions I noticed. Also, this is a much deeper palisade, as Laci describes it. In the reverse grip, very much, I would almost say, karambit type in its presentation and usage. The palisade, excellent for catching and trapping opponent limbs or essentially whatever they come at you. Again, the guard can be used there. So very effective in the reverse grip. The Strider handle, I chose this particular one or went with it because I was very familiar with the Strider ergonomics and felt very comfortable with that type of grip. The Murakami, as we'll get into in a second, is a little bit different in that respect. So let's talk a little bit about that one. I'll post a link for not only Laci's site, but for this this particular knife maker. DJ Urbanovsky of American Kami is a knife maker that I think you guys are going to start hearing a lot more about. The knife, as you see before you, it is a very large knife. Just to give you an idea of how large, Spyderco Paramilitary. Basically, the blade is the paramilitary in full. Okay, handle length, you can sort of see there. Just to give you an idea of how large this knife is. Okay, going across, such as that. It is 1095 steel, differentially heat treated. It features a chisel grind, full chisel grind, with some very interesting grind patterns on this one. If you'll notice, it's hollow ground on the 3 different cutting edges. Okay, but what is unique about it is the edge on the knife is extremely thick and broad. Essentially, he presents the entire thickness, essentially a 1/4 inch thick steel, right at the edge. You can see there, it is a very strong edge. And with the design of the hollow grind, after the edge actually finishes its cut, there's less steel, and it's actually getting no friction whatsoever on this front of the knife, except at this portion here where the grinds meet. Of course, with the chisel grind, the friction on the back is there. So this makes an excellent slicer, long story short. You can see here the 3 types of grinds, basically a slight recurve, the straight pointed tanto type edge, as well as this large leaf-shaped back edge. Very impressive. Features that typical grind, a very ergonomic handle. It just melds into the hand, and it's extremely thick. I can't describe it of just how effective and how strong this grip feels when it's in use. It is a very heavy knife, but with the 45-degree angle and this very sturdy grip, you don't feel the weight. It is, the momentum you do build up is extreme in that sense, and basically you're coming down with a lot of force. With this much weight, this type of grip, that angle, it is a very, very devastating type weapon. You can see here the pallet suit is a little bit different. It's more akin to the original UUK design with the second I guess groove here, which could be used in the smaller versions of UUKs for finer cutting. Your grip just fits in perfect there, but you're not really doing fine cutting with this particular knife. Okay, one of the things with combat knives, I just wanted to get into it and a little bit about that 45-degree angle, what it means. For those of you who are bow hunters or a little bit more familiar with weapons, the idea of a wound channel is very important. For a typical piercing type maneuver, when you deliver that edge, you could see here the type of channel you would be going into your opponent going across. When you employ this 45-degree angle, and come in straight with that, you begin your cut and pierce there, but by the time you reach the guard point, see how much damage has been done. The wound channel is extremely large for a type of knife like this. So, extremely effective. It is, I will call it a weapon. This really isn't, it's not a utility knife in any sense of the word. The name itself, Urban Utility Knife, is essentially a little bit of a joke on Laci's part, just showing a sense of humor. But, long story short, they are very effective fighting weapons. They're very natural to use, extremely, extremely efficient and effective. Very impressed with them. Let's see, Laci, just a little bit in closing, Laci's been extremely generous to me. After speaking with him, he was actually responsible for giving me the opportunity to get both of these guys. The Strider's been out of production for a while. You could still find them out there for a little bit. 1 out of 60 I mentioned. The Amerikami UUK, it is a new production run. Only 3 of these guys are made. There's the 2 sisters of this knife, one in the black G10 and another in Coyote Brown. And Laci contacted me, and essentially I was honored to have the opportunity to actually get a hold of one of these guys. So thank you very much, Laci. In closing, just check out Laci's videos, check out his site, check out some of the incredible designs he's come up with. If you get the chance to meet or talk to him, I highly recommend it. It is both an honor and a privilege. Also, check out DJ's site, check out some of his great designs as well. You know, I'm thinking you're going to be seeing a few more of them from me in the future. I hope this video was a little bit interesting. I know I tried to rush through it. I'm sure I didn't cover some points, so any questions, comments, please post them and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Thanks a lot, guys. Have a great one. Bye-bye.